Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Micronutrients Ball Talk. How is everyone? Hope you're fine, and hope you've been having a lovely July. Yeah, the July has been looking good, and hopefully it stays that way. As said last month, we're going to be going into diseases of international priority, and we'll be spending more detailed time discussing them instead of the rush that we've been doing in the past. So no rush this time around. So we'll be taking our time, we'll be looking at these diseases in detail, and we're going to start today by discussing one of them that most of the time people don't talk much about, and that's malnutrition. We're talking about malnutrition. Malnutrition. When you hear about malnutrition, what comes to your mind? Maybe what comes to your mind is that somebody is underfed, or somebody looks lean or thin, and just looking haggard or something like that. But that's not really malnutrition. Malnutrition can either be in form of taking inadequate nutrients or excess nutrients. So you can have a malnutrition presenting either as overnutrition or undernutrition. When you take excessive intake of nutrients, you'll be having overnutrition. When you take insufficient one, you'll be having undernutrition. So, and of course, today we'll be talking about more of undernutrition, because that's what we associate more around there with malnutrition. And we'll be looking into acute malnutrition, which you usually call Marasmus or kwashiorkor. Don't let me say and kwashiorkor, because those are the two form of undernutrition that we have. We either have kwashiorkor or Marasmus. And please don't judge me with the way I'm saying kwashiorkor. That's how we know how to pronounce it. I heard that there's a different way in which it's been pronounced, but I don't know. So we'll be discussing more about Marasmus today, and it's a deficiency that is as a result of severe malnutrition. As a result of severe malnutrition. Of course, kwashiorkor is as a result of protein energy malnutrition. But Marasmus is a severe manifestation of kwashiorkor, so you can understand the difference or the differences either. So let me quickly break it down. When the body is not taking enough calories, the body will start suffering from both tissue and muscle problem. You start losing serious weight, and then a child will start having lots of issues, especially edema, as a result of protein insufficiency. So let's quickly look at the causes. Of course, we've spoken about the causes of insufficient, the causes of Marasmus as insufficient total calorie intake. But what causes the person from taking insufficient calorie intake? Because why is the person not eating? And when we're going to consider this, we're going to look at it from both the social and the biological perspective, because malnutrition can also affect adults. not only children. The picture we usually see online in media is the picture of children that are looking malnourished, but both adults and children can also be malnourished. But different factors are usually responsible for both, in both rather. And for children, the usual cause is poverty, which can be as a result of low status or insufficient education, and of course of the parents. Then we also have a war, natural disaster like a famine, drought, just general social instability. Okay, so and we have a lot of issues when it comes to this, because when it's linked with more of a social status or social causes, then a lot of social solutions will have to be provided for that. Then we also have should I call it some infections that are associated with malnutrition as well, especially infection that's associated with diarrhea. They also lead to malnutrition. Then HIV/AIDS epidemic is also a big issue on these children. In adults, of course, it takes a different form. Maybe we should be aware of what we refer to as anorexia, where people don't actually eat. It's a condition, more of a psychological condition or biological condition in some ways. We see people are still trying to understand it. Then we also have aging. Aging is also a factor, because as people age, realize that they also have a reduced intake of calories. So it's, if not well managed, it can lead to malnutrition. Then we have social issue, depression. Depression is a big cause. It's a big cause of in people. Depression in some lead to overnutrition. Depression in some leads to undernutrition, especially loss of weight. We also have some condition, malabsorption, not maladoption, malabsorption, where the body is the stomach, the GIT is somehow impaired from absorbing the nutrients that are supposed to get inside the body. So, and in terms of the occurrence, the epidemiology, malnutrition is a big public health problem in many countries, especially in developing countries, and is responsible for close to 300,000 deaths per year. And it's a big issue. And when these deaths occur, the malnutrition associated deaths, they tend to have seasonal fluctuation. Like it's usually associated with when food is scarce, or when there is an increased infectious disease burden on the people. And in Africa, we've had a series of issues like that. Sometimes famine, sometimes civil war, sometimes we don't have natural disasters in Africa anyway. So the gender, that of course it happens to both male and female. It doesn't have it doesn't discriminate. Poverty doesn't discriminate. Malnutrition doesn't discriminate. They've been, in some parts of the world, it's been associated with women, but I don't really, I believe in it if the study says so, but it's not really a factor of a gender-based disease this time around. So, like I said, we're going to take our time to discuss this particular topic. So, let's look at the body physiological response to deficiency of nutrients, of calorie intake. What happens when you don't take enough calories into your body? The first thing we are going to talk about is starvation. If you are not eating, you're going to experience starvation, and When you are starving yourself, the body will loses a large amount of glucose, glycogen, and then body will start getting shrunken. The tissues that are dependent on glycogen build up will start having problem, and then there will be so many metabolism change within the system. So that's one. Then secondly, we have susceptibility to infections. If you are not eating, then there's highly possibility that you are susceptible to infection. The infection is more possible to occur to somebody who doesn't eat than in people who eat. This is actually a very common factor. Then the total body water. The funny thing is that you will expect that people who are malnourished should not have water in their body, but that's not the way it is. Researchers have actually shown that they have more of water in the body than food. So Marasmus is associated with an increase in total body water compared to the body weight. So your body actually has a lot of water when you are malnourished than when you are eating well. Then of course, definitely if you are malnourished, you have a lot of reduced electrolytes. There will be issues with your oxidative stress as well. There will be issues with your gastrointestinal system, and of course there will be issue with the central nervous system. Once somebody is severely malnourished, the brain function will be altered. Don't forget that the brain feeds excessively on glucose. It needs energy to actually work. So in the absence of that, it's going to have it will start malfunctioning. Then there will be issues with the production of your hormones in the body, and of course, severe malnutrition has a direct effect on the heart. It's going to affect the cardiovascular system as well. So we're going to stop here for now. We're going to continue in the next bout talk. We're going to go into details. We'll talk about the symptoms, the diagnosis, and how it can be managed. So like I always say at the end of every of my bout talk, make sure you stay safe, but this time around also eat well. See you.